Hello BookTube! So this week's novel is called Bracelet of Bones by Kevin Crossley Holland. It's a really good novel that is obviously set in the Viking era. It's the first book in a set called the Viking Sagas, and it follows the story of this young girl whose name is Solveig. I've been pronouncing it Sloveg, but her name is Solveig. Lots of Viking names in this book that are unpronounceable to me, but in my head I called her Sloveg. She is rising 15. She's a very young, energetic young woman, and she basically follows her father across the globe. So she gets on Viking boats with strangers and merchants. It's written for young adults, I think. It didn't really feel childish. It felt quite grown up. It's got quite a bit of violence in there that I think would be unsuitable for like quite young readers, but it was still really, really good, and nowhere near as violent as the show Vikings at all. So you can't really talk about the Viking period of time without involving some sort of horrific act and some really bad violence. So I think they covered that quite well, right up except until page like 198, where yeah, I was a bit disappointed, but I guess that's how stories go. So once I got over that, I was quite okay. It's a road trip novel, really, so I really enjoyed the way that she went on this epic journey and really sort of came into herself by meeting different people and talking and making friends and really finding a sense of self, I think, that she wouldn't have got had if she just stayed at home. The reason I chose this book this week is because it reminds me a lot of a book that I read back in 2013 when I was in England, in Cornwall, doing an archaeology dig under a great archaeologist named Jackie Wood, and she has written a novel as well which is a bit bigger than this and a bit more in-depth. Because she's an archaeologist, she really goes into the actuality of what it might have been like then. It too is a journey novel where we follow the main lead protagonist girl on a journey on Viking ships and stuff. It's called Cliff Dreamers, it's by Jackie Wood, and I will talk a lot more about that in my next video. But this is a really good book. It really kept me drawn in. The writing was good enough that I felt like I knew the characters, I felt welcomed into the sort of society and yeah, into the way that the girl thought. The really cool thing about her is that she's got one purple eye and one grey eye. I think they call her a changeling because of that. I don't really know what that's about, but I'm sure I'll get to know if I read the rest of the series, which I might do because it entertained me enough to keep me interested to want to know what was going to happen to her next. It's a complete story on its own. There's no huge cliffhanger or anything at the end, which I was really grateful of, because knowing that it was the start of a saga, I was like, man, I'm going to get through this and not know what happens, but I was really glad that I did have some sort of completion. Oh, one thing I really liked about this book is right at the end, in the little thank you notes, he talks about his inspiration of what, like, that first thing that spurred him to want to write this novel, and that was that he was in one of the old ancient buildings and he saw Viking graffiti, so some runes carved into the wall that just said Halfdan, which meant half Danish, and he thought, oh, this character, and then that character becomes quite a large part of this novel. Infamousy sort of this one character is sort of the driving bane of this novel, I guess. And I really liked that little seed of inspiration there, because I really love graffiti. I know that sounds like a terrible thing, and I don't want anyone to ever carve their name into old ancient monuments or anything, or that stuff like that, but I went to France and stayed in this one stables, and there was some graffiti carved into stone with a little face and some hair, and it said Pierre next to it, and I really can't stop thinking about that, who that person was. Who is Pierre? Was he a child? Was he naughty? Was he a grown-up? Was he a stable boy? Like all of this cool stuff that I go what if in my mind. And this guy followed that dream. He saw the same thing, graffiti from long ago, and he wrote his novel, and I just love that. The research in this is done pretty well. I didn't feel like there was too much information lacking. I felt like there was enough in depth that I didn't go, well, that's just a lie. So that was good. It was well researched, well thought out novel that flowed nicely and had good characters. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you on Monday, hopefully, with another bookish video. This one's about Jackie Wood's upcoming novel called Cliff Dreamers, which currently has a crowdfunding crowdsourcing page happening at the moment. But there'll be a link to that in the doobly-doo, but I will talk to you more about it on Monday. Okay, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I will see you later. How do you turn this thing off?